Hi, everyone. I want to speak to you directly about what happened in Venezuela. I'm Christopher Irizarry. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, retired CIA officer, and candidate for Florida's Congressional District 12. At around 2 a.m. on January 3rd, 2026, the United States launched a full-scale military strike across multiple sites in Venezuela, including the capital, Caracas. By sunrise, Nicolas Maduro and his wife were in U.S. custody. President Trump justified the action, saying that Maduro was a criminal fugitive wanted on U.S. drug trafficking and narco-terrorism charges, and the United States needed to conduct a large-scale military strike to remove him. The questions that all of us should be asking are, was this military action legally justified, and what comes next? Because if we're sending American forces into harm's way, then the American people deserve more. Now, people will say that the United States has done this before. They will likely talk about three major missions: the capture of Manuel Noriega in Panama, the removal of Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq, and the operation that targeted Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Each of these operations relied on a combination of U.S. constitutional authority, congressional authorization, and recognized principles of international law as justification. For example, the Panama invasion and the capture of Manuel Noriega in 1989, we acted under a mix of constitutional authority, criminal law, and treaty obligations, with the goal of protecting Americans, stabilizing the Canal Zone, and enforcing U.S. law. For the toppling of the Saddam Hussein regime in 2003, we rested on a formal act of Congress and the argument that Iraq was in material breach of multiple UN resolutions. In 2011, the targeting of bin Laden was authorized by Congress and the international right of self-defense against an enemy that had already attacked our country and continued to plan further attacks. Whether one agreed or not, those were the legal pillars the operations stood on. The truth is that the military action in Venezuela had no such justification. Congress was not briefed on the attack until afterwards. There is no mutual defense treaty, no intervention treaty, no regional security pact, no bilateral agreement, and no international legal instrument the president can cite as justification for this. The administration now says that the U.S. will run Venezuela after removing Maduro. History tells us something simple. Occupations are easy to start and hard to end. And the American people deserve honesty before we commit to another open-ended mission. For the actions I mentioned earlier, here are the final numbers for each. In Panama, 6 weeks of direct U.S. military control, 23 American service members killed, and $164 million. In Iraq, 14 months of formal U.S. occupation followed by 8 years of military involvement, 4,431 American service members killed, and $2 trillion to include long-term medical care for veterans. In Afghanistan, almost 20 years of U.S. military presence, 2,461 American service members killed, and $2.3 trillion. We deserve leadership that respects the rule of law. I'll keep watching this closely. I'll keep asking the hard questions. And when I earn the chance to represent you, I'll make sure Congress does too. We owe our troops that. We owe our country that. And we owe you that.